How can I flush the output of the print function? How do I force Python's print function to flush the buffered output to the screen?
In Python 3, print can take an optional flush argument. In Python 2, after calling print, do. By default, print prints to sys.stout. See the documentation for more about file objects.
Running Python H, I see a command line option. U, unbuffered binary stout and stir. Also Python unbuffered equals zman page for details on internal buffering relating to U. Here is the relevant documentation. Since Python 3.3, you can force the normal print function to flush without the need to use sys.stout.flush. Just set the flush keyword argument to true. From the documentation, print objects, sep equals comma end equals backslash n, file equals sys.stout, flush equals false print objects to the stream file, separated by sep and followed by end. Sep, end and file, if present, must be given as keyword arguments. All non-keyword arguments are converted to strings like str does and written to the stream, separated by sep and followed by end. Both sep and end must be strings. They can also be none, which means to use the default values. If no objects are given, print will just write end. The file argument must be an object with a writeString method. If it is not present or none, sys.stout will be used. Whether output is buffered is usually determined by file, but if the flush keyword argument is true, the stream is forcibly flushed.
How to flush output of Python print? I suggest 5 ways of doing this. In Python 3, call print ... flush equals true. The flush argument is not available in Python 2's print function, and there is no analog for the print statement. Call file.flush on the output file. We can wrap Python 2's print function to do this, for example, sys.stout. Apply this to every print function call in the module with a partial function. Print equals partial print, flush equals true, applied to the module global. Apply this to the process with a flag, u, passed to the interpreter command. Apply this to every Python process in your environment with Python unbuffered equals true, and unset the variable to undo this. Python 3.3+. Using Python 3.3 or higher, you can just provide flush equals true as a keyword argument to the print function. Python 2, or is lower than 3.3. They did not backport the flush argument to Python 2.7, so if you're using Python 2, or less than 3.3, and want code that's compatible with both 2 and 3, may I suggest the following compatibility code. Note the _future import must be at / very near the top of your module. The above compatibility code will cover most uses, but for a much more thorough treatment, see the 6 module. Alternatively, you can just call file.flush after printing, for example, with the print statement in Python 2. Changing the default in one module to flush equals true. You can change the default for the print function by using functools.partial on the global scope of a module. If you look at our new partial function, at least in Python 3, we can see it works just like normal. And we can actually override the new default. Note again, this only changes the current global scope, because the print name on the current global scope will overshadow the built-in print function, or unreference the compatibility function, if using one in Python 2, in that current global scope. If you want to do this inside a function instead of on a module's global scope, you should give it a different name, for example. If you declare it a global inner function, you're changing it on the module's global namespace, so you should just put it in the global namespace, unless that specific behavior is exactly what you want. Changing the default for the process. I think the best option here is to use the U flag to get unbuffered output. Or from the docs, force stin, stout and stir to be totally unbuffered. On systems where it matters, also put stin, stout and stir in binary mode. Note that there is internal buffering in file.readlines and file objects for line and sys.stin, which is not influenced by this option. To work around this, you will want to use file.readline inside a while loop, changing the default for the shell operating environment. You can get this behavior for all Python processes in the environment or environments that inherit from the environment if you set the environment variable to a non-empty string. For example, in Linux or OS or Windows. From the docs, Python unbuffered. If this is set to a non-empty string, it is equivalent to specifying the U option. Addendum. Here's the help on the print function from Python 2nd of July 2012. Note that there is no flush argument.
Fungsinya, kisah